All right. So if you're not here for the EOF Plus information session, then you are probably in the wrong meeting. I'm Todd McCreary, the Associate Director for the EOF program here at TCNJ. Here's our mission statement. And basically, we help to develop and facilitate student transitions, which lead to college readiness, positive adjustments, address developmental concerns, academic success, student persistence to graduation, and also to prepare them with knowledge, skills, and abilities and values which are necessary to compete in both a regional and global multicultural workplace, um, to include graduate study and other personal civic endeavors. So we focus on the whole student. We have a holistic approach when we're working with students. Our job is not to just dish out money and help you get through 4 years. We're interested in what you're doing while you're here. How involved and engaged are you here when you're at TCNJ, but also beyond graduation? What are you doing with your career and with your life? All right. What is EOF Plus? EOF Plus is an opportunity for a student at TCNJ to join the EOF program with the understanding they will receive comprehensive academic support and some financial support. EOF Plus is not the EOF Promise Award, and the Promise Award cannot be awarded to a Plus student under any circumstance. So if you heard of the Promise Award, you might have a friend who's a first or second year student who came in with the Promise Award. That's because they were selected in high school and they did our 5-week summer program, completed that successfully, and they became a Promise student, which helped them considerably with their finances, with paying for college. About 3 years ago, the Promise Award, for lack of better words, covered the first 2 years. Now it doesn't. Students are beginning this year and moving forward. Students are asked to help supplement the cost of their first year up to, I believe it starts at $3,500 or it is 35. I don't know the exact amount. Um, but if you didn't come in as a Promise student, I always tell students if you do the math, if you're EOF eligible, and if you do the math, you're really not missing out on a whole lot of money. Some students who used to get the Award would say, I got a full ride. Well, the full ride really came from the Pell Grant, TAG Grant, and the federal aid that they were eligible for. And the college would probably kick in like 2 to 4,000 each semester. So I think I say all that to say, I think the Plus Award is a good deal. And we'll walk through some steps and we won't dig too deep into the financials, but you'll get a better understanding of what you might have coming to you financially, what will possibly, could be coming from the government. All right. So in order for a student to join the EOF Plus program, they must first prove financial eligibility. All right. And I'll show you a chart where you could look at that. It's on our website for the state. OSHE is called the Office of the Secretary of Higher Education. They have a chart on their first page for this year, and then they have the chart for the upcoming year. Um, It'll give you a general guideline of eligibility. Additionally, a student must also demonstrate a need for academic support. So one of the questions I get is students will say, well, I should be OF plus because my family meets the financial eligibility. And that could be great. What we would say is, you have to show a history of poverty. And back in the day, we used to get tax return transcripts. We had to look at a couple years. You had to prove a history of poverty. Well, we don't look at tax transcripts on our end anymore, unless there's an extreme circumstance where, the state tells us, hey, you got to look at this kid's tax transcript, but we don't. All right. Financial aid does all that when you were vetted to come into the college. And that's how we knew to reach out to this particular group of students, because we got a list of students who at, at the um, at the beginning, it looks like you're kind of like pre-eligible financially. But we also have an academic side where you have to show an academic need. So you could be financially eligible, but if you're making a 4.0, and I just always use this as an example, you're 4.0 in your major, You don't need academic support, so chances are you probably won't gain EOF plus. But then you could say, well, I have a 4.0, but I have accommodations, or I go to tutoring and do this, that, and the other. Well, then I could try to help you build an argument for academic support. All right. So I don't want you to think, well, got a 4.0, but I'm financially eligible and I can't participate. No, if I can help you build an academic support, being truthful, then I'll help you do that. Um, um, but on the surface, typically a 4.0 kid, might not be eligible for EOF plus. Um, so another major qualifier is that you must have at least 3 remaining semesters of undergraduate education. First off, this does not work for a graduate student. Second off, if you're a senior, undergrad, I cannot work with you. You have to have 3 full semesters remaining as an undergraduate student. OSHI, once again, the Office of Secretary of Higher Education, financial eligibility information. Undergraduate eligibility must demonstrate an educationally and economically disadvantaged background. I should have put educational. I'll get the LY out of there. But must be a New Jersey resident with 12 consecutive months prior to receiving the award. All right. So years ago, people used to say, they used to get that 12 months and all that mixed up. We must be a New Jersey resident, 12 consecutive months prior to receiving the award. You must apply and be accepted to a participating New Jersey college. I'm just going to assume all of you are TCNJ students, so you've already applied and you were accepted. You must meet the academic criteria as set by the institution of choice. You must file a FAFSA. I think you all filed a FAFSA. That's how we were able to get your financial information, and your gross income and assets must fall within the criteria shown on this chart. All right, so this is on the OSHI website. I failed at putting the QR code, but the website is at the bottom of the page if you want to take a snapshot. And this basically talks about the household income that on a preliminary basis could make you eligible, if you look at finances first, could make you eligible for EOF plus. So if you have a family of 4, your family's gross income can't be above 60,000. Now there is something where we could look at, someone who might have a little bit more than 60,000, a family of 4. We call them a discretionary student, and we do some math to see if you fit into that discretionary uh, um, um, guideline. And if you do meet discretionary eligibility, we send your name to the state, and they let us know if you're eligible or not. I'll tell you a little bit more about sending your name to the state in a minute. But you could take a screenshot of this. This is for 24, 25. On the OSHI website, they also have the guidelines for 25, 26. I just don't want to put too much information on here. Um, a few benefits of EOF Plus. It's a comprehensive academic support program. So you get that comprehensive academic support from your assistant director. You could get some additional financial aid. I'll elaborate on financial aid in a minute. Opportunities to expand your learning beyond the classroom, networking, possible funding for summer and/or winter courses, and an opportunity to join the EOF family. And there's more that I could have put on this slide. So what I wanted to expand on with financial aid is basically my 5th bullet there, where it says possible funding for summer or winter courses. If you become EOF plus, yes, there is a financial benefit to being EOF plus. The first thing is currently the state awards an EOF student up to $975 each semester. All right, that's the EOF state grant. So if you became EOF plus, you could possibly receive up to $975 each semester from the state. Additionally, you're considered an EOF student. Once again, you're not an EOF Promise student, but you're an EOF student, and you could also be eligible for funding for summer or winter. I don't like to get people's hope hopes up for the summer because we don't actually have a summer budget. It's kind of like leftover from what we have during the academic year, and we try to help seniors, whether they're EOF Plus seniors or just student who's been with us all 4 years, doesn't matter. We try to help them get one or two classes that they need for graduation. Really one class, but if we find a way and we can move money around, we try to help them get two if they just needed one or two classes to graduate. Um, and I say that kind of loosely, but I also want to just pull back a little bit and say, once again, this summer we do not have a budget. So it's not like we could say we got 15 seniors needing a class and we could just fund all 15 students. We may not have that kind of money, but we try in the summer. We try to make it work because we want to help students graduate in 4 years. And once you persist and get to that point, we try to find a way. Now, the winter funding is a lot different, unless the state change things, they change things. Um, in October, I write a grant to the state saying, hey, I want all this money because I know I have students who want to take a winter course. They probably need to live on campus and they probably need food. So I try to, and textbooks. So I apply and I do a little math to say, here's the amount I need. And so far, this is the first winter we've ever come close to spending what I need, what I received. For the past 4 or 5 winters, I want to say five, I couldn't spend the money I received. I just didn't have enough students. TCNJ didn't offer enough classes, but the winter funding is different. I write a grant, I get the grant and I got a whole bunch of money to spend. So if you do become EOF Plus, start thinking about a winter course, and your assistant director will work with you to make sure you're eligible for a winter course. Chances are you will be, and then we just fund the winter course depending, on what you need. Some people just need the course. Some people need course textbooks, room, board, etc. So. But we could talk about that later, should you get to that point in your academic career with us. All right. Um, Process behind the scenes. I want to take time out with this slide so that you understand. You're meeting with me right now, and you're going to send me your application. I don't want you to think I look at it right away and check it off, and then a day or so from now, you're EOF plus. Doesn't work that way. The state requires me to send a list of my students to them for the next month, I think, almost month and a half. Every other Thursday, I have to tell the state, these are my students. Well, I currently have about 340 EOF students that I work with. Each time I add a plus student, I have to add them to that list. I have to do my due diligence on my part. And then by next Thursday, let's say one of you applied and all of you applied and you're all eligible. By next Thursday, I do my due diligence, add you to the list. I send my list off to the state. The state, they don't know if you're EOF plus or not. TCNJ is the only place that calls it EOF plus. I have no idea what the other colleges call it, but every college that has EOF has some kind of plus program. We call it EOF plus. Well, they look at your name. They also make a determination if you're financially eligible. They do a little further checking, but they do that with all of my students, even the ones that have been here 2 years and 3 years or whatever. They look to make sure nothing's changed with financial eligibility. Then with a plus student, with all the students actually, they never get back to me. So you would see money on your account, the 975 that I mentioned, you would see that before I would. The only way I would see that money is if 2 or 3 weeks, probably like 2 weeks after I submit it, I would have to go into pause and look to see if you have those funds awarded by the state. So perfect world, filled out an application and I got it turned in the next Thursday coming up. Someone could actually have their award from the state before the end of February. All right. So there's a state response. There's some things that go on behind the scenes after I submit that roster and then the funds are applied to your account. And then we try to send out a notification from our office, and then we connect you. Well, I shouldn't say we try. We send a notification out to our office, and we connect you to an assistant director according to your major. And the assistant director is here next door to me. There's three each office down, and we connect you according to your major, and they begin to work with you. You're not allowed to work with the assistant directors until you become an EOF Plus student because they're funded through a grant. All right. So I'm done.